I am going to be showing you how to make a Kusadama ball, which is basically a bunch of folded and glued paper, and the two shown I've made within the past 2 days, so it took about a day to make each of them. And I think they're a fairly easy paper project, but some people have disagreed with me. Okay, to make a Kusadama ball is pretty simple as far as materials. You're going to need the sheets of cardstock that are 12 by 12, and you're going to want to fold the pages in half and cut lengthwise, and then fold the pages in half and cut horizontally. So then you'll end up with 6 by 6 squares, and to make this ball you're going to need about 80 of them. I also like to use clothespins for my gluing, and tacky glue I found is the best glue to use. So okay, and these are the different stages that you'll need to fold the petals. You first are going to want to fold this paper in half diagonally, like so. So you have one of these. The next thing you're going to want to do are fold the edges up like this until you have something that looks like that, and then fold this part in half and this part in half. So then you'll get something that looks like this. And then once you have those folded in half, then you're going to want to pop them out and fold that down, and then finally take the top flaps and fold them down, fold them together, and then you're going to want to glue this and seal it, keep it closed with a clothespin. And that'll be your petal. Okay, I like to fold about 20 of these little papers before I start making the petals, and I like to just glue these together assembly line style. Get your glue and just put it right towards the inside edge here. I'm sorry, that's going to be, change that, that's going to be the outside edge that needs it most. And then put a couple clothespins on that and set it aside. And those will take about 1.5 minutes or up to 5 minutes to get set, so you can get a lot of these done in the meantime. Okay, and after you get your petals so that they're nice and sturdy, then you're going to glue at first groups of 4 and just put a line of glue on one of the inside lines here. Eventually you're going to put a 5th petal in there, and we are going to glue 5 of these flowers together. So 5 is the magic number, but at first we're just going to glue 4 of these, and you'll see why. So glue those 2 together and hold it with a clothespin. Add your 3rd petal. Make sure that your clothespins are cooperating. You can get some clothespins that sort of sabotage your work by bending sideways and going wherever they want. Okay, and so for this the 4th petal, don't glue this other side to it. Leave that open. We're going to stick another petal in there, just not now. Okay, and so I like to pull these 2 edges together because it's going to give this a nice tension while it's drying, so that all these edges are just nice and close and happy. So for now, you're just going to put a clothespin between the two edges there and not glue it. Like so. And then you can come down to the bottom here and make sure that you mush these together so that the flower comes to a nice point at the end. And let that dry. Okay, so once your petals have dried long enough, go ahead and take the clothespins off of them and go to the flower that you made with the clothespins, and once you take those off, there should be one of the petals that stays open like that. And if they don't, then you glued an extra side, and you can just rip one of them apart to fix it. And put your glue on both sides here. You want to add in the last petal. And then pin that in place. And kind of fluff up the petals a little bit. Make sure it looks good down here and let that dry. Okay, and once those dry, then you're going to want to take the clothespins out and just kind of give these a little fluffing here to make sure that the flower is popping out and looks nice and you don't have any oblong petals. Fix that. And then the next thing that we want to do is start making what I call the crown, which is, you know, going to be the base or the top half of the Kusadama ball. And I glue these petals together. I don't glue these two edges together at a time, but I'll glue the top edges together. And I like to think of it as there's a glue line to the side of the very center edge here, and a glue line off to the other side. And so I'll just glue right off to the side of the top of one of these petals. And then take this guy and marry those two, and then pin it and wait. Okay, and now that you have about 4 flowers all glued together like so, time to add the 5th one. So then, remember that glue line I showed you on the inside? I'm going to glue right here, and then right there, and attach the last flower, so that'll be all 5 of them. Except for the one that's going to go on top. That will be the last one. Okay, so just get this guy. And just kind of make sure that the edges are coming together nicely. It's okay if this little inside part isn't stuck down there. It's not going to make a whole lot of difference, but just make sure that the edges are nice and lined up and that there's enough contact to glue these two together. Okay, so now the crown is glued together, and if you want to attach a little handle to it, now is the time for that. And what I did, I just stapled a ribbon together at the bottom and poked it through with a skewer, just shoved it down there and sealed it in there with some glue. So that's ready to be placed in there now. And to glue the last flower in, you're going to want to stick the top of the petals onto the places where the petals meet together. So right here, right there, right there, right there, and right there. And then you're going to want to clothespin the last flower into place and just eyeball that until it has a really nice coming together. So then everything's pinned together in place, and you have your other crown there, and you can flip it over, and wherever the edges meet, then you can glue together with the other edges that meet there as well, and work your way around. I wouldn't recommend gluing the crown together as one solid piece. I would just recommend putting one piece on the bottom at a time. It seems to go better that way. And so that's how you make a basic Kusadama ball, and I'm going to make my larger size Kusadama ball, and I'm not going to tell you the secret recipe for it. It actually came as an accident, and if you're clever, you will figure it out. Okay, so here is the finished result. And I also made another one just to show the different color variations that you can get. And this is probably the 10th one I've made ever, and you can make them even bigger. You can actually take the 12 by 12 cardstock and use each paper as an individual petal, so you can make it like super big, and it's pretty cool. And that is it. That's how you do it.